In this step, we want to replace our console log statement here with the action that will actually create our tweet. So if you recall from the previous steps, if you go into the lore object and go into actions, you can access a set of actions the framework created for the tweet. And one of those actions is the create method. So we're going to be invoking this action instead of calling console.log. So to use this, we're going to say lore.actions.tweet.create, and we're going to pass in the params. So this statement says we want to create a tweet with these parameters. And if you recall from the previous step, our text field is in this params object. So let's save that and refresh our application. And say, does this really work? And hit create. And you'll notice that there is an error, but what we care about right now is this call at the bottom. So it actually made a post to the tweets endpoint that returned a 401 unauthorized. So let's switch over to the network tab. And at the bottom, you can see that there was a post request. If I click on that, it went out to /tweets endpoint, and it was a post, so that's correct for the create action, and it included the text that we added from our dialog. So in this statement, we have our create dialog, we give it an onSubmit action, it's reading the attributes that we have in our tweet to determine what input fields to display. And then once that data is submitted, we can just take that data and pass it directly to the create action for the tweet, and that will then invoke a network request for the server. So the reason that this is failing right now and returning a 401 unauthorized is because the API requires users to be authenticated in order to create tweets. Otherwise, it doesn't know who to associate the tweet with. So in the next section on authentication, we will be fixing this error, and we'll be making it so that we actually can create tweets instead of them being rejected by the server. As for the other error that we see, right, we've seen this one before. Each child in an array or iterator should have a unique key prop. And we saw that before. It was because we weren't associating a unique key with each item in the feed, each tweet in the feed that we were rendering. And the reason that we're seeing this again now is because Lore implements a pattern called optimistic updates, which actually creates the data and attempts to display it in the client experience before the server confirms that creation. So we'll touch on that more later, and we'll fix this error and understand exactly where it's coming from and how to solve it. But for now, you can safely ignore the error. So in the next section, we are going to emulate the same flow we just created for create experience and do it for an edit link.